So now we are on chapter 4, which is life and death as functions of Myoho Renge. Before moving to chapter 4, let's quickly look at what we studied in chapter 3 and how chapter 3 and chapter 4 are interlinked. So in chapter 3, we learned that life and death are two phases of eternal life. We also understood that all living beings are part of Myo and Ho, and they follow universal rhythm of Myoho Renge. Now in chapter 4, we are going to deepen this understanding. We will also explore how life and death themselves function as expression of Myoho Renge and what it means to awaken to this rhythm in our actual daily life. Now, why understanding and realizing the fact that we are entity of Myoho Renge is so important? Because when we realize that all living beings are governed by rhythm of universe, that is death and life, which is none other than mu and ho, all the phenomena, earth and heaven, yin and yang, all planets, sun and moon, every entity follows rhythm of the universe. In a sense, just like universe following the rhythm of life and death, rhythm of Myoho Renge has boundless energy, wisdom, compassion and potential. Now, getting awakened to this fact and aligning our life with rhythm shall result in immense wisdom, compassion, and potential within each one of us. Buddha knows that there are no fundamental delusions or sufferings that we cannot surmount. However, for most part of our life, we are trapped in the cycle of birth and death. So when we understand that the law which is working in my life is working in all the living beings, no matter whether they are at a micro level or at macro level, whether they are planet like sun and moon, or whether they are either it is yin or yang, good or bad, no matter, till the time it is a living being, till the time they can demonstrate the 10 worlds, they are in the rhythm, they are governed by the rhythm of universe. And idea is, as soon as I make myself um, a part of rhythm of universe, as soon as I align myself with the rhythm of universe, then I start getting all the qualities which universe has, which is immense boundless wisdom, compassion and energy. However, what happens most of the time, we are not able to do that. Why? Because we are most of the time are trapped in the delusion of cycle of birth and death. Now, we have already studied that mu means death, right? Mu means something mystic. Now mu also means something which is renewed, which is revival, which is like an opening. So at one point of time, mu means death, but it also means to open, to revive. One interesting thing to note here is how Buddhism perceives death, right? So while Myo means death, Myo also means to open up, to revive. Now, how death can be equivalent to revive and revitalize, right? So think of Myo, think of death like going to sleep. Now, when we go to sleep, we get revived, revitalized, and when we wake up, we feel fresh, energized, and again with full of life to head on to take on the work, right? Also, though in sleep, while we are in sleep, we get revived. However, the most important thing is that the life state before going to sleep again comes back as soon as we wake up, isn't it? If we are worried about exam and ultimately fall to sleep, then we are definitely getting revived and energized. However, as soon as we wake up, the worriness again comes back, right? So life state transmits. However, now I have more energy, I am more revitalized to again continue from where I left before the sleeping. Now, so nature of life and death of living beings of the 10 worlds. What does it mean? So it basically says that how to define what is living being and what is not, right? So in this chapter, Nichiren Daishonin and Sensei ultimately explains how to define whether something is living being or not. So it is defined through the 10 worlds. All living beings are governed by 10 worlds, and in turn mutual possession of 10 worlds, no matter what the size of living being is. Anyone who has life, they are governed by the 10 worlds and mutual possession of 10 worlds. All living beings will have origination and extinction. All living beings will have life and death as two faces. That's why all living beings are entity of Myoho Renge Kyo, right? So, how to define a living being from the Buddhist perspective? A living being is someone who can demonstrate the 10 worlds. A living being is someone who can who can by design 10 worlds, and mutual possession of 10 worlds is same thing. The living being someone who will go into extinction, origination and extinction cycle. And of course, because they're in 10 worlds, they will be governed by the law of cause and effect as well. So essentially there are three major attributes of a living being. First one was they will exhibit 10 worlds and mutual possession of 10 worlds. They will have an origination and extinction. And thirdly, they are all part of the law of cause and effect. Right now, can all living beings manifest Buddhahood? Maybe not. Why? Because they can't chant Namyo Renge Kyo. That's a constraint they have, but it doesn't include the fact they have Buddhahood within them, right? So they have all the 10 words within them, right? And that's the reason human life is so valuable, because only in this shape and form we can chant Namyo Renge Kyo and manifest Buddhahood, right? Now, focusing more on mutual possession of 10 worlds and what does it mean, right? So, our life and life of all living beings inherently contains Namyo Renge Kyo. And all living beings have 10 worlds, right? And as Lotus Sutra says, mutual possession of 10 worlds. So, these 10 worlds, these 10 states makes us to do causes, right? Depending on which life state we are, we will continue to create causes and ultimately which will result in effects. The effects that get manifested in our life when the right time, right conditions appear. Correct? So, in essence, so essentially, we can say that whatever cause we are creating through thought, speech, and action, that result in simultaneous seeding of effect in our life, right? So, what are we? We are, in a some sense, we can think of it like that. We are also lotus, correct? In a sense, we are also embodying the lotus quality, because just like lotus flowers and seed at the same time, and we all living beings are entities of Myoho Renge Kyo, and we all possess 10 worlds and ultimately mutual possession of 10 worlds. So we continue to create causes and the effect continues to come. So in some sense, we all living beings are embodies of lotus, right? So our life inherently is not good or bad, because we all possess mutual possession of 10 worlds. It keeps on changing based on what causes and conditions are, right? So the same life can manifest a state of delusion or a state of enlightenment governed by mutual possession of 10 worlds. So that is where the word embodies lotus. So we all are entity of Myoho Renge Kyo, and we all embodies lotus. Okay. Now, the next concept is simultaneity of cause and effects enables inner transformation. So, continuing from the last point, living beings have all the 10 worlds and mutual possession of 10 worlds that makes them do the cause and ultimately result in effect, right? Now, living beings and their environment. What does it mean? It means that living being has two environments. One is oneness of self and environment. So both influences each other. Think of it like a tug of war between me and my environment, and they are continue to pull each other towards their side. So if we change our inner selves, then we can influence, we can change our environment. That's how actually people have shown actual proof, isn't it? When they start changing from within. So when we change our fundamental attitude or mindset, we can instantly transform both our life and our environment. So keyword here is instantly. All the profound changes in our attitude or mindset can instantly transform our life without changing who we are. And when we change inside, not only does our life change, but our environment changes as well, right? So when we change our inner selves, we are able to manifest that our life is entity of Namyo Renge Kyo. And this is based on the principle of law of lotus, law of simultaneity of cause and effect. Now, the most important thing to understand here is what profound change we need to bring from within. A change which is based on Ichirin Sanzen, a 3000 realm in a single moment of life. So we have discussed 3000 realms in a single moment of life in a separate video. I will not delve into it here. However, think of it like that. There are multiple possibilities from one moment to another, how the world will behave, how my life will behave. There are multiple possibilities, multiple permutation and combination. Buddhism quantified that multiple into 3000, right? So there are 3000 realms. Think of it like a multiverse. So there are 3000 multiverse from one moment to another. Which multiverse, which real, which reality we want to bring in, that depends on us. And when we start focusing and we start chanting with a 100% determination, so what we do is we squeeze all the possibility, we exclude, we eliminate all the 2999 possibilities and get only one possibility to manifest. that in its sense is a Ichinin Sansen. Of course, it's a concept, different concept, and it will require its own sweet time. Understanding 10 worlds, mutual possession of 10 worlds, 10 factors, and 3 entities. However, the bottom line is, think of it like that. There are multiple words, multiverse, and from one moment to another, there are multiple possibility. When I start chanting with 100% determination, I can bring that change in my environment, and that is what the simultaneity of cause and effect enables us to do so. Right? Remember, we talked about two kind of cause and effect. One is the ordinary cause and effect, and the other is instant cause and effect. So just to revise from the last chapter, ordinary cause and effect is that if I do good, I will get good. If I do bad, I will get bad. The other is instant cause and effect, which is as soon as I chant, immediately at that moment itself, I get Buddhahood from within. Right? Now, arising and extinction of life. So what is the meaning of arising? Arising of the essential nature of law, and extinction is the extinction of that nature. So what is it saying? From the subjective being point of view, um, we all living beings moving across the worlds. That is what the subjectivity is, right? No matter who we are, it's subjective in which world I am, whether I'm in the world of hell, hunger, animality, right? um, Subjective because we keep on moving across 10 worlds. Objective realm is universe, the life state of compassion, right? Which is the ultimate identity of each one of us. And extinction of nature basically means that the nature of each one of us will extinct. It will go into transition from life to death. However, the law will continue. Remember the example of ocean and wave. Now, two Buddhas, symbols of life and death. Now, if we go back to chapter 2, where we talked about ceremony in the air, we have seen that Shakyamuni Buddha and many treasures were sitting side by side, right? And we also understood that they both get enlightened by mystic law itself, right? They both also govern. They are also governed by mystic law, as they keep on manifesting in life and then in death. Like Shakyamuni Buddha said in Lotus Sutra, that he has constantly abided in the Saha world to continue expounding the mystic law after attaining enlightenment in the remote past. So he pretended to enter into nirvana as an expedient means to guide living beings to enlightenment. So Shakyamuni Buddha told that he is going into nirvana, he is going into death, but he was always there, right? So in a sense he's saying, and he was one who got enlightened by mystic law. So he's showing a phase transitioning from life to death, correct? Now, so when Buddha said that he was always here, it means that the law was always here. So he's saying that I may have seen, you may have seen me going into nirvana, but I was always here. So what does it basically means? That he was trying to, through expedient means, he was trying to convey that though life was transition into that, but he was always here, one with the mystic law. Similarly, for many treasures Buddha who entered nirvana in the remote past, right? However, he appears to vouch for authenticity of Lotus Sutra whenever and wherever it is preached. Now, his appearance can be said to symbolize the entity of mystic law emerging from the phase of death into life. At one point of time, at one instance, Shakyamuni Buddha is saying that he is transitioning from life to death through nirvana, but he's always here. On the other hand, many treasures Buddha is coming from nirvana to the life to vouch for Lotus Sutra, right? So that means he's instantly converting from death to life. That means he was always here. So in a sense, both the Buddhas are trying to make us understand that life and death are, they are symbolic, in a symbolic form. They are trying to make us understand how the life and death functions, right? So in a sense, the life and death are ways to teach law to everyone. So they have actually used their life and the going into nirvana, or for many treasures Buddha coming from nirvana, as a means to teach everyone the law of the universe, right? And essentially that is the purpose of each one of our life, is to spread Kosen Rufu, right? And just like Buddha was always here, similarly we will always be here and manifesting again and again to spread Kosen Rufu. Life and death for beings in Buddhahood. So this is very important. So Toda Sensei used to say that when we die, we merge with the universe. Now, universe contains all the 10 worlds, and when we die, our life essence fuses with one of these worlds in the universe. Okay. Now, which life state we will merge on, the which life state we will fuse, will depend on our own inner life state. That is why it is important that what is our life state at the time of death. If our life state is of Buddhahood, then we will merge with the life state of Buddhahood and again born with the same life state, right? Similarly, if the life state at the death is of hunger, anger, or animality, we merge with same life state of universe. and we will born again with same life state, same tendencies. In death, our life essence pervades the universe and moves in sync with the cosmic rhythm of birth and death. So, in a sense, we were never were separated from universe. The universe continuously following the rhythm of birth and death. Like we discussed in last chapter, ocean is universe, rising wave is birth, and the receding wave is death. So the bottom line is which life state we are in at the time of our death. If we are in the life state of Buddhahood, we will merge with the life state of Buddhahood in universe. If we are in the life state of hunger, we will merge with the life state of hunger. And that basically means moving from the lower world realm to the Buddha realm. Now, birth basically means what? Birth basically means reborn based on the past causes, plus manifestation of right conditions, plus state of life suiting our that life state. So whenever we are reborn, that reborn is, think of it like an equation which is based on our karmic storehouse, whatever past causes we have created, and when those conditions manifest, then we will reborn. And when we will reborn in the same life state, in the life state where we ended our past life. So if someone in a life state of Buddhahood, then that person will be reborn, wherein people are enjoying the life state of Buddhahood. For example, Gohanzon is there, happiness is there. And when we die with the state of Buddhahood, we can freely choose the time, place, and form in which we want to reborn. That kind of power, the realm of Buddhahood is. Now, so death for living being in, so what is the meaning of death of living being in world of Buddhahood? It basically means becoming one with universe, overflowing with compassion, deeply savoring and enjoying the eternity of life, reborn with embodying life force and compassion of universe, and working to lead all people to enlightenment. And because we have a very high intent and very high compassion to be reborn, to work for the other people, and because of this intent of leading all others to happiness, the rebirth happens very swiftly, freely, and without any hindrance. So essentially it is the compassion for all people led bodhisattva of her to keep coming on earth again and again, again and again, right? So bottom line here is two things. Toda Sensei said that once we die, we merge with the universe. Now, which life state we are going to merge with the universe depends on the life state at the last moment of our death. If we are in the realm of Buddhahood, then we will merge with the realm of Buddhahood. And because the Buddhahood has a high compassion and they want to reborn to work for the people again, then that also means that we can freely choose the time, date, and the family we want to born in, right? And ultimately the reborn also happened very freely and without any hindrance and very quickly as well. Now, when Bodhisattva of the earth appear throughout the world to awaken people to mystic law, eternity of life, true inherent nature of life, of death is Myoho Renge Kyo, right? So compassion is something which compels for the repeated emergence. So in Buddhism, we don't aspire to get into nirvana. We don't aspire to get into moksha. We don't aspire that I become Buddha and that's it. My task is done. No, my task actually starts when I become Buddha, when I attain Buddhahood. Why? Because when I attain Buddhahood, the idea is, because Buddhism is based on the compassion, that compassion led us to keep on coming to the earth again and again, so that I can help my fellow human beings to also get out of the lower world and get into Buddhahood, right? And that is the purpose of Bodhisattvas of the earth, to lead all people to enlightenment, to awaken people to mystic law, eternity of life, and true nature of death. And when somebody does that, they transform the suffering of humanity and they will be able to elevate the life state of humankind. So this is it. This is chapter 4 for us. So if I have to do the summary, so in the summary we talked about the life and death are expressions of Myoho Renge Kyo. All living being inherently possesses 10 worlds and mutual possession of 10 worlds, and because of this mutual possession of 10 worlds, we continue to create cause. And think of it like that: we are an entity of Myoho Renge Kyo, and we embodies lotus, because we keep on creating the causes and effect, right? Most important thing is that we can influence our environment when we do the inner change from within based on Ichinin Sansen, and the life state at the that determines our rebirth, the realm which we are going to get into. And what is a bodhisattva spirit? It is a spirit of compassion driven rebirth for question to four. So there are few keywords. One is arising and extinction. We talked about life state. We talked about Buddhahood, Bodhisattva of the earth, eternal life, and transformative potential based on chanting with a high intent of Ichinin Sansen. We talked about Myoho Renge Kyo. We talked about 10 worlds, mutual possession of 10 worlds, simultaneity of cause and effect. We are the entities of mystic law and we embodies lotus. We talked about oneness of self and environment, and that oneness of self and environment is a crux to get the inner transformation based on Ichinin Sansen. So, this is it. This is chapter 4. I have jotted down few short questions which I will highly recommend for you to answer as per your understanding, and this basically helps you to prepare better for the exam and for the general discussion when you are introducing someone as well. So there are few questions. I would really request you to pause and go through this question, ponder over it, and that's it for the chapter 4. See you in chapter 5. Thank you so much.